Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican Congresswoman from Georgia, re-elected in November, she has pushed baseless QAnon lies and conspiracies that include saying that Democrats and celebrities are part of a Satan-worshiping pedophile ring. She has since tried to walk back her involvement in QAnon. She also questioned the events of 9/11, something she's also tried to walk back.
The so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon.
There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now.
Kennedy getting killed in the plane crash, that's another one of those Clinton murders, right?
So she has pushed conspiracy that mass shootings were staged and false flag events, including calling a Parkland survivor a paid actor. She's engaged in anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim rhetoric over the years. She's compared Barack Obama to Osama bin Laden. She's apologized after comparing mask rules in Congress to the Holocaust before she entered Congress. Greene also liked social media comments calling for the executions of Democratic politicians, including Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama. Her list also included FBI agents. She once posted a picture of herself holding a gun alongside pictures of 3 members of the so-called squad with the caption that she was going on, quote, offense against these socialists. In 2019 and 2020, she encouraged protesters to, quote, flood the Capitol and endorse political violence, claiming the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump. And in the past 2 months, she has downplayed the insurrection against a symbol of American democracy, her very own workplace.
And I want to tell you something, if Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, they would have been armed. Yeah. See, that's the whole joke, isn't it?
She says that she would have won the insurrection on January 6th with arms, the same insurrection she blamed on Antifa. And yesterday, in the same Capitol that was attacked, on that same House floor that was breached by many now convicted criminals, Marjorie Taylor Greene sat in for the House Speaker and presided over the House, gavel in hand, the same House she says that she could have seized during an insurrection. A sad day for America. Here to discuss, Adam Kinzinger, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Mondaire Jones. Good morning to both of you. Having just heard that, where's the lie?
Yeah, you don't know where to start with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene has just uniquely kind of decided to take on every conspiracy theory imaginable. It would be funny if it wasn't so scary. Like, sometimes you look at the things that she says and you're like, this is just so out there. But this is a woman who doesn't believe basic facts about her history, now in the Speaker's chair.
As I was watching that very good interview by Caitlin Collins with Comer, and I had to come out and say something because he is citing sources as credible that are not credible. He is talking about facts or something that's kind of flexible, and maybe you believe one thing and maybe another. Facts are facts. And this is where we are right now. Are you? I wonder if you're happy to be out of it.
I'm really happy to be out of there. Look, it's sad to me. I mean, I know Mr. Comer. He's a good guy. I was kind of surprised by this turn he's taken as the chair of the House Oversight Committee. You know, look, Hunter Biden's laptop. Maybe the FBI has an interest in that. His laptop was stolen from him and exposed to people, right? He's not in government. Yet this is the Republicans' #1 thing this year. So look, my political analyst hat looks and says, James Comer this, Marjorie Taylor Greene is very influential in the person in the party. If I take that off and just speak as Adam Kinzinger, what she says is what a lunatic says. It's finding every conspiracy and taking the trust of the American people. You represent 700,000 people, but you also have a voice in front of hundreds of millions, and you're telling them complete and utter lies for one reason, so you can be promoted in this low-paying job that you have in comparison to other things.
Mondaire, what about the line that has already been sadly crossed when it goes from just fringe conspiracy theories, you know, when QAnon was not widely espoused by some in power in government, to actually being repeated by people like Marjorie Taylor Greene? I mean, you have years ago what happened in D.C. in the pizza shop in Pizzagate. And then you have what we're just reporting on today, which is these neo-Nazis planning this attack on Baltimore. It's not all the same, but lies lead to actual violence and can lead to death.
Absolutely. I mean, these comments are not just made and then nothing happens in response to them. We saw an attack or an attempted attack on the city of Baltimore.
Right.
Well, it turns out a few years ago, Donald Trump himself, in attacking
that.
Elijah Cummings, who at the time was the chair of the Oversight Committee,
And the city itself.
the city itself, a majority black city, as quote, disgusting and rat infested and rodent infested and a place where no one would want to live. Well, fast forward a few years, you've got a neo-Nazi and his ally, I guess, attempting to disrupt life in the city of Baltimore, and I think for one reason only.
Can I make a quick point?
Yes,
So everybody, every day when you wake up, you have a battle in your heart between, like, I'll call it good and evil, like light and darkness, right? You always kind of have to fight that. It is really easy to let the dark parts of your heart overtake your thinking, because you don't have to think too hard to do that. It's just like all your fear can manifest into how you act. When somebody in power and leadership stands in front of you and speaks out the dark parts of your heart, it gives you permission to let that overtake you. That's why a leader's job is to not do that. A leader's job is to avoid the temptation to speak the darkest parts of hearts.
Can I ask you, you said, I think, Don, you said, are you happy to be out of there? You said you're so happy. But that, just recognizing what that moment is, because you fought so hard against that while you were there, and realizing, I think, you couldn't change it enough?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's to an extent, I'm sad that I don't have the ability to fight there. I'm personally glad to be out. It was 12 years. But yeah, I mean, you have to look at it and say, from my party, I don't think it's going to take just one person coming along and saying the right things. I think this thing has to burn its way through the party. There has to be a moment where people are like, this doesn't work anymore.
Listen, there's a similarity between us in that, because when I was on the night show, every day was a knife fight about, you're wrong, this is whatever. And so I moved here because I thought there's a different conversation you can have. But it's very easy, as you said, this fight in your heart, to be lulled into the idea that, and to normalize what Comer said, or to what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and that people actually believe it. The American people are going to have to deal with this for at least the next 4 years, about what's real and what's not. And
Yeah, you were in the White
that's
House.
what you were in the
for
White
that.
House, and you said, don't be lulled into this sort of false narrative that Trump has been, that he's different because he's been investigated. You said that that's BS.
Well, and we were talking backstage of how many Republicans and former government officials we know who were honest, decent people, and now we see them doing things that are so performative and they know better. And Comer, I would put into that box, because he said, Donald Trump's been investigated for 5 years. Well, 2 years ago, he helped incite an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. So, I mean, the offenses to investigate Donald Trump for seem to continue every day. The idea that there's some sort of like date of expiration on it is absurd. And I really like the point that Adam made, because this is a crucial moment for our country. At what point are people going to put doing what's right for this country ahead of their own political ambition or their own, future ambitions? It feels like so many of these people, whether it's a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Lauren Boebert, they're like running for their cable news gig, not to actually serve the people of their districts or the people of the country. It's terrible, and we're going to look back and be like, what are we doing?
So then what do people do? Do they step away like you? Do they step away like you? Do they find a different route to tell the story, to tell the truth?
I mean, the
What do we do?
beginning, honestly, is having conversations with people you disagree with. Like, Mondare and I, we're on different sides of the aisle, but let's talk about what a Democrat and a Republican could potentially marginally agree on.
I think it's also incumbent upon the media to make sure that it is educating the public about facts, which should not be in dispute. And unfortunately, because of changes in the media environment, you've got too many networks in this country focused on pushing the same lies that you see from even James Comer, to say nothing of Donald Trump and other people who are like him.
Can I say that, the Bible says you can't point out a speck in somebody's eye when you have a plank in your own. There is real benefit, whoever you are, to recognize your own issues as well, right? So let's say this Chinese balloon, every Republican is saying, in essence, Biden needs impeached over this, which is insane. Well, let's also look at the Democrats back when Soleimani was killed. Their knee-jerk reaction was to say, we shouldn't have killed Soleimani. We're going to start World War III in the Middle East. Well, recognize that. I'm not saying that just as an attack, but recognize, look, our side has had some inconsistencies. But right now, I got to tell you, the Republicans own this inconsistencies thing. I mean, standing in front and literally saying lies and conspiracies, not as opinions, but as facts, it's very destructive.
The struggle is for giving it a platform.
Yes.
For me. But the people need to know. So what do you do?